Hello and good morning, everybody, or good afternoon. Welcome to the Crypto Mining Show, your one-stop shop for all crypto news from the perspective of a cryptocurrency miner. And today is the day. It is doomsday, the end of mining, the end of GPU mining. Might as well pack it all up and go home, boys. We're done. Ethereum will merge tonight around, I guess, 10 p.m. coastal time, right over there on in the California time, something like that. We're looking at Central Time being around midnight, and East Coast about 1 a.m. somewhere around there. So we will be going live tonight around that time. I was planning on about 10 to 10:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'll get a link for that in the description after the show once I have a little bit better of an idea. I am still feeling a tad under the weather, so bear with me while we get through it, even to the point to where I might have to already go take a quick break here in just a second, but that's okay. We'll get through it today. Today we're just going to mainly be talking about the merge. We're going to have a little bit longer of a Q&A section. We're going to be taking a look at the networks. We're going to be taking a look at what mineable options there are. We're going to be talking about ETH proof of work. And we're going to be talking about a couple other little articles. We have more specifications on the RTX 4090 and 4080. It's starting to look actually like those earlier power number leaks that we were supposed to get from them are looking bad again. Initially, they looked bad, then they looked kind of good, and now they're looking bad again, looking like it's going to suck up a lot of energy. And then we're going to be talking about, mining profitability for the day. It'll be the last day that we ever look at Ethereum on the mining profitability charts. It's going to be quite amazing. I'm super excited for this to be over with personally. I can't wait to see what opportunities arise. I'm hoping AliExpress gets flooded with GPUs and that we start to see, what is going to happen, because right now we still don't know what's going to happen. I mean, everything is exciting. I will be still covering ETH, of course, on this channel, because what is going to happen here in the future with ETH post merge. But what's going to happen with ETH, right? We don't really know how all that's going to function and move out. What's going to happen with all of these smaller proof of work coins? What's going to happen with the bigger ones, right? What's going to happen with Bitcoin? What's going to happen, in response? What's going to happen with Dogecoin and Litecoin in response? What's going to happen with Ethereum Classic? These are all questions that we have that we don't have answers for, and we get to live through it. This is probably the biggest thing to happen within cryptocurrency since the inception of Bitcoin, right? Like, there is nothing really bigger that's ever happened. This is a historical moment. And regardless of, how bad or good it may be at the end of the day, valuing the opportunity to live through a historic moment like this is really what is of value, I think, at least to me, in my eyes. So I'm excited for it. Let's get an ad rolled here, and then we'll get into the show. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking, to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. And welcome back, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So first things first, if you guys are paying attention or not, I mean, if you have been paying attention, you're aware of kind of the front runners for a majority of the proof of work scene going on. Flux being one of them. Caspa, not so much. They're a lot smaller, of course, but Caspa just released their guide and in partnership with Flux for running nodes on the, on Flux. So they have this guide up already. It's linked down in the description if you guys would like to check it out. But basically how to deploy a decentralized Caspa node using Flux Web 3.0 client. Pretty cool that they released this. Obviously, it's nice to see Flux, whitelisting projects like this. I still kind of think that, overall, I kind of wish Flux didn't have the whitelist set up to where you had to get every single Docker image that you ever wanted to run on there whitelisted. But, having a Docker image for the Caspa node out, as well as, the ability to run it on Flux, is super awesome. Let's see where they listed this. Oh, they have them actually in global apps, which is interesting. I'd like to find, I do know that it runs off of Docker, even their global apps. So I'd like to check out and see, if Caspa has a Docker image now, which would make it a little easier to deploy. Now, caveats for this. You still will be better off, just from a mining perspective, to have a Caspa node running on your local network. That's going to give you the best latency, which will in turn theoretically give you the best chance for winning blocks. Now, that is not absolutely true with Caspa, because Caspa, once again, is a little different. It's ghost DAG. You can be mining an older block essentially, and it'll still be honored on the chain, meaning like as far as like your latency times to win a block and like not end up with an uncle block like you would on Ethereum, some stuff like that is not as impactful with Caspa because it's very unique in that sort of realm. Also, that is how they get the super high transaction throughput that they get on Caspa. But there is that caveat of running it, within Flux as opposed to running it locally. The other thing is the persistent storage is not currently, rock solid. So what that means is you need to make sure you're backing up your private key for your wallets and all of that sort of thing, because in the event that it gets wiped and restood back up, which is essentially how it works on Flux, when that happens, you will lose that wallet information. So you'll need to reset up the wallet, re-import the key, and do all of that. So just a couple caveats there just to think about, before you go off all gangsta and deploy a Caspa node on Flux, and then you're mining to it, and then you go to look up your wallet, and then boom, your wallet's gone, and you're like, oh shit, I forgot to back it up. Blind Run told me to, but I forgot. Don't forget to back it up. Persistent storage is not a thing yet. All right, so be careful with that. So next we have the RTX 4090 and the RTX 4080 out and about, and we will also get into this. Actually, DJ, let's go ahead and answer why we talk about Caspa. Why do we talk about Caspa? We talk about Caspa for a couple reasons. One being they are working on an algorithm that will be supporting optical proof of work, which is very unique. Another unique portion about it, of course, as well, is that it utilizes Ghost DAG, which helps increase the transaction throughput and is has the highest theoretical transaction throughput, transactions per second, currently available on blockchain. So it is relevant. Another thing is if you wanted to look at the team, it has a team member, a developer that came from the Ethereum blockchain, and has been doing this longer than probably you have been watching my YouTube videos. So yes, Caspa does have a lot of reasons to look into, but if you want to just call it a shit coin, well, that's fine. Everything's kind of a shit coin at the end of the day, other than Bitcoin. I'll give you that. Everything is. So the reason we talk about Caspa is because it's relevant and has relevant developers behind it. And we will be doing some interviews with them. So if you want to hear it from their mouths, you can. As far as the rest of the projects go, Flux and everything else, they all have their reasons, and we always talk about why, right? We also talk about, for example, that Ergo has Kushti, who came from Cardano and is a well-respected member in the development community around blockchain. Most of these projects that I do pick do have that. So if you're not willing to go do the research yourself, hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea. But more research to be done on the GPU side. And originally, like I said, we were expecting the power numbers on the 4090 to go down. Unfortunately, I think they are going back up. So I'm just going to skip down. We're going to get past all this. Specifications. We got the 4090 on the far left. We got the 4090 16 or 4080 16 gigabyte in the middle there. We got the 4080 12 gigabyte right after that, 3090 Ti and 3080 Ti. And what we see is, well, a disappointing reduction of the memory speed on the 4090 from 23 gigabits per second to 21 gigabits per second. It's apparently looking like we're only getting 256-bit. Unfortunately, as far as this is concerned, on the 4080 and not on the 4090, which means the 4090 speeds are really going to still be right around that 1 terabyte a second, which is going to be essentially a 3090 or a 3090 Ti. We are not looking at a significant increase in the performance there. Of course, 3090 being more as far as memory speed because of the memory on the backside, not as good. If we're looking at the 3090 Ti, this would be directly comparable because you can have front side memory modules being cooled probably by a copper plate, at least on the Founders Edition. Usually a copper plate that is shared with the core, which does still cause some heating issues, to be fair, which is probably why, we're seeing this. There's not as many modules on the 3080 as there are on the 4080 as there are on the 4090, right? So that's part of the reason. Probably it's probably getting too hot, especially once we see the total board power now, because the total board power on the 4090 is 450 watts, and we are looking at 660 watts on the BIOS Max TGP, or total GPU power. So that is really bad because, we're going to see essentially 3090 Ti performance with just absolutely astronomical power consumption. And the 4080 doesn't look much better either, right? I mean, if we go down to, let's see, the 3090 Ti, just to clarify, here 350 watts, right? So we're looking at 100 watts more on the total board power alone for the same memory intensive algorithms, right? So your Ergos, your Ethereum Classics, etc. Now, the advantage, of course, that's coming with the high power is going to presumably be of the boost clocks on the cores, the amount of CUDA cores, and the core performance, right? So there could be an argument for that. Core performance, core heavy algorithms, for example, would be Casper. Of course, if we wanted a mix between core and memory, we're looking at Flux and Ravencoin. So there could be some benefits in Flux and Ravencoin on this. But is it worth the extra 100 watts? I'm starting to think no. And this is the expected specifications of these GPUs now. And if you're like, okay, well, maybe the 4080 12 gigabyte will be the way to go because it'll have a lower TDP. Hold on to your hats, boys. They've cut that memory bus down to 192 bits on an 80 series GPU, which is just like, man, that's a tiny skinny bus. I mean, not a fan of skinny buses. I cannot lie. This is tiny, a tiny bus on an expensive GPU. Not looking good to me at all. You're looking at a 192-bit bus at 21 gigabits per second, giving you a 504 gigabyte per second throughput. I mean, there's not, yeah, you're better off going with a 3070 at that point pretty much than going with a 40, 80, 12 gigabyte. In my humble opinion. I mean, this is where we're at. And the retail prices are looking absolutely abysmal, with the 4090 running at $11.99, the 4080 running at $8.99, and the 4080 12 gigabyte running at $6.99. Not what I'm looking for. I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts and opinions as well. And then we got to talk about Mr. Craig Wright. We're going to get into this one because this one's kind of fun. If you guys weren't aware, this is just a fun article to go over for you guys. If you're not aware, basically Craig Wright is kind of like in the middle of a defamation suit because essentially someone said, of course, he is not Satoshi Nakamoto. He claims to be Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, for proof, what they are requesting is that he shares Satoshi's private keys, but they're saying that Satoshi's private keys, wouldn't be enough, so they aren't going to provide them, which is hilarious, just as in general. I just thought it was always nice to have something to laugh at the end of the day here. So lawyers for Craig Wright, the Australian computer scientist best known for claiming to be the inventor of Bitcoin, said he will not provide any new cryptographic proof that he is Satoshi Nakamoto during his trial against Bitcoiner Hodlnaut. The trial kicked off here on Monday. The Norwegian trial is one of the two simultaneous lawsuits centered around a series of tweets from March 2019 in which Hodlnaut expressed a doubt about Wright's claims to be Satoshi and called him a fraud and a scammer. Hodlnaut, known in real life as Magnus Granath, initiated the lawsuit in Norway to get a judge to rule that his tweets were protected by the constitutional right to freedom of speech and prevent Wright's defamation suit filed in the UK from moving forward. During his opening statements on Tuesday, Wright's lead attorney, Halvor Manshuas, something like that, told the court that establishing Wright's ownership of Satoshi's private keys, a move many of Wright's doubters say would settle the years-long argument over his claims, isn't enough. However, I think that is exactly enough. I mean, okay, we could say it's not enough because detractors could say that he somehow stole or found the Satoshi Nakamoto's private keys. But if you want the most amount of proof, I think that showing that you actually hold the private keys would be the absolute most amount of proof that you could currently have to prove that you're Satoshi Nakamoto. In my humble opinion, I'd like to hear what you guys think in the comment section in the chat. But if it's like, hey, man, prove that you're Satoshi by showing us that you have the private keys to the Satoshi's wallets, it would be like, if he showed me that, I'd be like, oh, you know what? You're Satoshi. All right. I believe you now. And then if you're like, nah, that's not proof enough. Let me give you some other BS proof, which we're about to get into here. I'd be like, no, bro, you're just making shit up, dude. Craig Wright is of the perception that to sign with a private key, one block or another, is not conclusive evidence of whether or not he is Satoshi or not. There we go. Sorry. Manchu has told the court, it's never one thing or the other is sufficient. You need several elements. You need the whole package. Sure. You need the whole pack. Give us the whole package, including that, my friend, I think is the point. So he also read numerous excerpts from Andrew O'Hagan's 26 article, The Satoshi Affair, to show that in addition to not feeling like cryptographic evidence would be enough to silence his critics, Wright also struggled emotionally with the burden of proving his identity as Satoshi. Using passages from the Satoshi Affair, Manchuas argued that Wright has difficulty trusting people and suffered extreme emotional pain and exhaustion after a private signing session intended to prove his ownership of Satoshi's private keys with Bitcoin developer Gavin Anderson in 2016 that caused him to break down in tears. Instead of cryptographic proof, Mantuis attempted to convince the court of his client's identity as Satoshi with other pieces of evidence, including a personal history allegedly in line with the creation of Bitcoin. Mantuis's opening statement also leaned heavily on Anderson's 2016 assertions that he believed Wright to be Satoshi following the private signing session. What Mantuis glossed over, however, is that Anderson later retracted his support for Wright when Anderson was deposed for Wright's trial against the estate of his former friend Dave Kleeman. He testified that he had been bamboozled by Wright, and when used gobbledygook proof to demonstrate his possession of Satoshi's private keys. The support of former Bitcoin Foundation director John Mantonis, who wrote a blog post called How I Met Satoshi in 2016 after a private proof session with Wright, also featured heavily in Wright's legal team's opening statements. Convincing the likes of Mantonis and Anderson, Mantuis argued, the latter of which he described as a very critical person in the beginning, extremely critical, was proof enough of Wright's claim to be Satoshi. In addition to the proof, Wright offered privately. Mantuis detailed Wright's childhood in Australia, during which he spent time with his grandfather, Captain Ronald Linham, during learning to code and operate a ham radio in the family ham shack. Mantuis told the court about Wright's long-standing obsession with Japanese culture, confirmed by a quote from Wright's mother in the Satoshi affair that explained his choice of pseudonym. Satoshi, Mantuis said, means ash in Japanese, and Wright chose it because he wanted Bitcoin to take down the legacy financial system and rise like a phoenix from its ashes. It had added the added benefit, according to Mantuis, of being the Japanese language name of Pokemon character Ash Ketchum. Note, CoinDesk attempted to verify this claim and found that Satoshi has several meanings depending on the kanji used, so none of which translate to Ash. Furthermore, the Japanese name for Ash Ketchum is based on Pokemon creator Satoshi Tajiri's name, according to the gaming website CBR. The spelling he uses for Satoshi translates to knowledge or wisdom. Wright's academic achievements and military career, both of which appear to have been exaggerated. For example, Australian public military records seem to indicate that Wright was discharged by the Royal Australian Air Force only a year after being accepted into a 9-year officer program, were also presented to the court as evidence that Wright had the skills, knowledge, and experience required to create Bitcoin. I mean, there are a ton of kids that learn to program with, various family members. It's hard to use that as proof that you were the creator of Bitcoin, in my humble opinion, right? So during their opening statements on Monday, Hodlnaut's attorney told the court they'd commissioned multinational auditing firm KPMG to authenticate Wright's evidence submitted in this case. The report is expected to show that many documents submitted by Wright are either manipulated or unverifiable, and will be discussed when a KPMG representative testifies on Friday. Though the contents of the 73 exhibit report have not yet been made public, Wright's attorneys attempted to preemptively debunk it during the statements on Tuesday, telling the court that there are reasons for documents to appear manipulated, such as being opened in 2 different versions of Microsoft Word that don't necessarily point to intentional manipulation. The current trial in Norway is not the first time Wright's alleged history of submitting false evidence has influenced court proceedings. In the Kleeman versus Wright trial held in November, lawyers for the plaintiff called witnesses who testified about Wright's business dealings, suspected forged signatures and backdated documents. They also referenced Wright's legal issues with the Australian Tax Office, who concluded after a lengthy investigation that Wright had backdated and forged contracts provided during an audit and was pretending to be Satoshi to get around his tax issues. Wright, for his part, claimed that the ATO was the victim of a hack that resulted in funky documents. In Wright's libel suit against British broadcaster Peter McCormick, a UK judge ruled that Wright had advanced a deliberately false case and put forward false evidence and awarded him a single British pound in damages. Though his lawyers, Wright told CoinDesk, he intends to appeal the adverse findings because his evidence was misunderstood. Another key theme of Mansuis's opening statement on Tuesday was the hashtag HODLNOT used in his March 2019 tweets. Craig Wright is a fraud. By using a hashtag, Mansuis argued, HODLNOT amplified his criticism of Wright by creating a repository for similar tweets using the same hashtag. Quote, his statements directly encourages other people to follow up the attack against Craig Wright with the same language, the same form, Mansuis said. We are going to see that encouraged a rapid and toxic attack against Craig Wright. You know what I always regret? Like personally, just in general, not regret, but sort of definitely kind of get a little like, maybe this wasn't a good idea. It's becoming an influencer or like somebody that is in the public eye, right? Like, and I think that somebody that would be along the lines of who would be Satoshi Nakamoto would be along the lines of a traditional, maybe like the traditional thought of if you had it's better to be rich than famous. If you had to pick one, being rich or famous, it'd be better to just be rich and not famous, right? Like this is a common thought process of a lot of people that make money and have money. And like the reasoning is all this, right? Like, Craig Wright, like in general, like it doesn't fall along the lines of somebody that I think would be Satoshi, because I don't think Satoshi would want all of this attention in the first place. Right. And like, that is really where I kind of go, like from my personal perspective, I don't think that he is a Satoshi, right? It'd be better to like just be rich and not be like, be under all this public scrutiny. Right. He also said that the online criticism of Wright spilled over into other social media platforms, including a Telegram group called Bitcoin Plebs that encouraged its approximately 400 members to organize a Bitcoin Plebs attack on some shitcoin scammers. Dang, we have more members in our Discord than they're upset about in this Telegram. And I'm pretty sure that we've talked about Craig Wright before, but you know, it's okay. We self-host our chat application because we're not a dummy that uses public Telegram groups. You guys are smart. Mansuis admitted that there is no evidence that HODLNOT was involved in this Telegram group, but told the court, quote, could be that HODLNOT has nothing to do with these people except they see the tweet and react. But still, we believe that it's as likely or more likely that HODLNOT himself is more involved than that he's in one of these groups and that he's taking the initiative here. Mansuis went on to say that the BSV extinction event, referring to the massive delisting of Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, the fork of Bitcoin created by Wright, the member of the Bitcoin Plebs, were angling for was a result, direct or indirect, of HODLNOT's criticism. The exchanges that delisted BSV, however, including Binance and Kraken, stated they did so because of Wright's behavior, including doxing and suing HODLNOT and others. And that is like, at the end of the day, like if you're going to be so upset at somebody that you're going to dox them, that's a very serious thing to do. And I'm always against doxing. Obviously, as a YouTuber, I'm not a fan of doxing, and I think that you should be held accountable for doxing others. And look, if Binance and Kraken are going to go ahead and pull BSV because of Wright's behavior, you know, if you're going to tie yourself to a project that closely, first of all, you know, I'm not a big fan, but second of all, yeah, that project will suffer consequences of your actions, right? That is just how it goes. At the end of the day, that's how it goes. Witness testimony begins. With opening statements concluded, witness testimony will begin on Wednesday. Wright and HODLNOT are both expected to testify. On Thursday and Friday, the court will hear testimony from additional witnesses. Wright's cousin, Max Linham, a so far unnamed expert from KPMG who will go over the findings of the report, Dr. Ami Klin, an autism expert who diagnosed Wright with autism spectrum disorder and testified on his behalf at the Kleeman versus Wright trial last year, and Stephen Matthews, an associate of Wright's. Anderson and Matonis are not expected to testify. Now, I want to say this in relation to autism. That is really interesting. You should never utilize your autism to defend yourself in public court. I do not think. I get it, but like that's already telling me you're going down the wrong path. In addition to that, being autistic doesn't give you the right to lie. Now, I don't know that he's lying. I can't prove that he's lying, but I am curious what the perception is. So let's get the perception here. Do you think, is Craig Wright Satoshi? And we are going to answer that question right now. Now, as our previous question that we started out the show with, I said, are you ready for the Ethereum merge? 72% of you answered yes, and 27% of you are honest. I don't think it is possible to be prepared for the Ethereum merge, because the Ethereum merge has way too many caveats here going on. I suppose if you you could consider yourself ready if you completely liquidated all your equipment and you're not planning on mining anymore. But, if you completely liquidated your equipment and then purchased a whole bunch of Ethereum, well, there's a lot of caveats going into Ethereum. We don't know where it's going to hit. Surprisingly, I was completely incorrect. I thought we were going to see Ethereum hit $2,000 running up to the merge. That didn't happen because, well, inflation was like, bam. But, cryptocurrency is looking better than your traditional markets right now, even with the inflation. Holy moly. It's crazy. So, let's talk about Bitcoin miner Iris, because they have risen as Compass points upgrades on potential boost in hash rate. We haven't heard too much positive news surrounding Bitcoin miners here in some time, so this is looking okay. Compass points analyst upgrade Iris stock to a buy recommendation from a neutral. Now, this is quite frustrating because we are talking about a Bitcoin miner and then they use a picture of GPUs. The lack of, attention to detail from CoinDesk and, major mainstream, I'm going to go ahead and call the, outlets like this mainstream cryptocurrency news outlets, is so disappointing. It's not even funny. They track, they're completely behind all the time on the actual technical underpinnings of every single cryptocurrency. They report incorrectly on the Ethereum merge. They use incorrect pictures to represent whatever their articles are currently about. And I feel like all we do on this show is read and correct BS from these people that know nothing about what they talk about. And it's just very frustrating. I think that there are some good reporters, at CoinDesk for sure. But they're few and far between, and they're becoming fewer and far between. And it's extremely disappointing. Shares of Bitcoin miner Iris Energy sharply rose Wednesday after research firm Compass Point upgraded its stock recommendation to buy from neutral. Analyst Chase White said in a note to clients that Iron has potential to boost its contracted hash rate and thus increase its Bitcoin production. If the company can secure additional computing power at low cost, as it did with Bitmain in August, White also expects that if Iris can execute its strategy, its stock can trade at a premium versus other small cap miners. Iron was trading hands at $4.59 at press time, up nearly 8% on the day. Compass Point has a price target of $6.50 per share. So, obviously what this is telling us is that regardless of, the current cryptocurrency market and so on, the cryptocurrency miner, at least in this particular case, iron, is going up. But what is this a case in point of? We've been talking about this all week. We've been talking about getting priced out as, your best, consumer grade miners. The miner, you and I, like, even if you're have a separate facility, if it's under a certain size and you are paying an energy company for energy, you are getting priced out. Why is Iris Energy performing better, than other companies? Well, it's because they have access to energy. They are a power company. They have access to basically price you out of the system. And this is where the greed comes in. I went into detail on this yesterday with the Ethereum merge discussion with Rapid Innovations founder, Jesse. I forget his last name. Apologies, Jesse. But I highly recommend watching that hour-long or almost 2-hour-long podcast that I did with him yesterday concerning the Ethereum merge. I think it was a very good one. Lots of good information in there. But this is kind of what it's showing, right? Bitcoin mining moves into the hands of the power companies at the end of the day. And it's extremely disappointing. Luckily, we do have this kind of floundering market of GPU mining to hang on to. But we're getting to the point to where right now that floundering GPU mining market is going to be extremely difficult. Now, you have a couple options, right? You could try to utilize this and view it as an opportunity, which is what I'm going to be doing, but not financial advice, right? Or you could choose to just get out and say it's all pointless. Well, if you did get into Bitcoin mining early enough, you were probably at the point now to where you were able to basically compete, or at least find companies that'll help you compete, whether that be companies that are running flare gassing or windmills that can't distribute their power all the way to large cities like from West Texas to Dallas. These are things you could maybe get into, right? You can see the success of Bitsby Trippin, for example. Is that a possibility now with GPU mining still? That's up in the air. That's something we're going to have to take a look at. I'm definitely curious how this shakes out down the line, but let's go ahead and get into it because we do have the Ethereum merge coming up this evening. When is it coming? Well, we got the countdown here on Watcher.Guru, the real-time merge tracker. It's going to be September 15th, 2022 at 12:21 a.m. Now, if you are, over there in the California area, it's going to be today, September 14th. If you are over on the East Coast, or, Central to East Coast, it'll be technically tomorrow, but pretty early in the day. This means tonight we will be doing a tracking of this, so make sure you guys stop by the channel and we'll track this and watch it as it all goes down because it's going to be absolutely fascinating. We'll be checking the hash rate and watching what networks hash rate moves over to. We're going to be taking a look at that a little bit today as well. But, we're going to see, how much hash rate's moving over to Ethereum Classic, right? How much hash rate looks to be GPUs by moving to things like Flux, Ergo, Casper, Ravencoin, Neoxa, etc., or so on. And then we'll start to see how bad the profitability is going to be. Projections would say that almost no coin is safe unless it's a coin that is not listed on what to mine at all, right? That you will be at the mercy of large farms taking over all of your little coins, taking over every single little coin that you have hope in. It's going to be an absolute bloodbath, but there are chances for, a phoenix to rise from the ashes, a Satoshi, a Craig Wright Satoshi to rise from the ashes, right? A Craig Wright Satoshi, a phoenix from the ashes. And for something to become profitable here in a little while, no matter what happens, something will become profitable again because that is just nature, right? The market will adjust itself. It will fix itself. How many GPU miners are going to quit? How much liquidation is going to happen? These are the questions we don't have the answer to yet. We'll start to find them though. And I'm excited to go ahead and start following it because we will start finding out more. And I think temporarily here after this show, I'm going to be doing some live streaming over on Twitch and moving some stuff around. The other option that is going to be really, really interesting early on. And look, here's the deal. You got a lot of proof of work guys that are being stubborn, talking shit about ETHW right now. And I've talked shit about it. I don't think you should be buying it, right? There's no chain currently available, but we're getting ready. We're starting to see like actual true chain stuff happen. I think you'd be amiss to completely ignore ETHW from a mining perspective, because there is going to be a lot of trading going on that network early on when it launches. So this is a potential to look at when it launches to support that network, because there's going to be a lot of stubborn people that aren't going to do it. You know, you got, high profile people like Daniel Keller actively campaigning against it. You have a lot of miners that are campaigning against it. Look, I get it. Campaign against it all you want. I'm not a fan of Justin or Chandler, right? They haven't had projects I trust. I'm not saying to go out and buy ETH proof of work. What I'm saying is there going to be activity on that network that you could potentially profit off of. So if you're looking for some profits for a little bit off of your, mining rigs, and you don't want to just turn off right away, there is that potential. We don't know what it's going to be. That's kind of the potential that's there, right? It's not going to be on what to mine. We aren't going to have profit calculators for it. Nobody really knows what it's going to be like, right? So it does have that potential from a surprise factor, right? Like I said, some of these coins that you're going to want to be looking at, if we can find them, are the coins that are not going to be listed on what to mine, to crypto calc, miner stat, that sort of stuff. Your other option, of course, would be maybe like completely capitulating, getting out of GPU mining and getting into like script mining or something with ASICs, but too little too late right now if you're sitting on GPUs. And I think that selling GPUs would be a terrible time right now as well. So be very careful with that. It's like all the people trying to sell their houses right now. It's like the market still shows your house is worth X amount, but the fact is that nobody's buying these houses. For sale signs are staying up because everybody knows the reality of what's actually happening. And that's that the mortgage interest rates are through the freaking roof, and nobody can afford to buy your house at the absolutely stupid, ridiculous price you're asking for it. And that market's going to collapse here short enough. So, your market, your house is kind of looking like it's worth a lot, and it's sitting on the market still, but in reality, it's really not worth jack crap. That is kind of what we're looking at with GPU mining, unfortunately, too, where I think that NVIDIA is leaving their GPUs kind of priced at this point when everybody kind of knows those NVIDIA GPUs aren't really worth that right now, right? Your 3060s aren't worth $400. Right? Their 3060 Ti's or whatever, they're not worth $400, right? We know this. We're just kind of sitting waiting for it to actually like happen. If you are, I'm having trouble, so maybe you guys can help me now. There should be technically for syncing an ETH node, there should be another bootstrap option for the Ethereum blockchain. If one of you guys want to help me find that. The instructions through the ETH proof of work, they're having slow speeds because they didn't, there's too many connections. Currently I'm looking at like a 62-hour download time. I'm looking to speed this up. So I'll be over on Twitch later if you guys want to help me speed this up, because I think speeding this up will be obviously worth it. I have a very expensive cloud server up and ready to go. I will be building a pool. I will be looking for some help with building the pool. I believe Chadwick's Racing and a few other guys are going to be helping me trying to get a pool up for the community. We'll have more details over on sonofatech.locals.com. It's free to become a member over there. You can follow all the posts. There's some member only posts. Early connections to the ETHW pool will probably be only provided to supporters. So you can become a supporter for $5 just because I trust the supporters to work through issues with us and stuff like that. But it could be a couple of days out before we actually get it up and running. But we're going to get that pool up and built. I've been wanting to do a Casper pool, but unfortunately Casper is not something I'm smart enough to quite build a pool for at this time. So I haven't been doing that. ETH is easy. I've done ETH type pools before. So with a little help, we'll be good there and have that up and running. If you guys do want to participate, fees and all that, pool fees I don't have decided, and all that sort of stuff. So we'll kind of get there through that, and we'll kind of go through it, but we'll have that up and running as far as that goes. So once again, don't buy ETHW. There's no real chain for ETHW. Okay. Not yet. I wouldn't buy futures to it. I think right now it's trading for like $50 or something like that. So let's talk about Ethereum's biggest mining pool is going to stop offering services for the network. This one's kind of interesting because this talks about Ethermine. Ethermine will make the move once the merge is completed, which is expected to occur on Thursday. Ethermine, the world's largest Ethereum mining pool, will stop offering proof of work services after the Ethereum network switches to proof of stake and won't be following up with the services for the planned proof of work forks. The Ethereum network is set to switch its consensus algorithm sometime on Thursday, which will eliminate the need for miners. Some in the community were proposing that the network forks to continue using proof of work method of validating transactions. Ethermine, however, decided not to offer a dedicated mining pool for a planned Ethereum proof of work fork. Now, why is that? Ethermine has essentially their own staking pool. So last I checked, and let's go ahead and make sure that they're still doing that, Ethermine is going to be participating in essentially staking. Yeah, so you can see here they have their staking Ethermine, and then they also have solo staking if you want to just participate in solo staking. But they are set up to actually move along with Ethereum and basically provide support for staking. So that is kind of the path that they are taking. So this isn't really surprising that they wouldn't go support, a proof of work chain of Ethereum, right? And they did say this on a Wednesday post. Once the switch happens, proof of work mining won't be possible on Ethermine, as all Ethereum or Ethermine Stratum servers will be shut down, and the pool will switch to withdrawal only mode, the pool said. Ethermine users can use other affiliated servers to mine Ethereum Classic, an older proof of work token. Users will also be able to mine Ravencoin, Ergo, and Beam. Ethermine is the world's largest mining pool for Ethereum blockchain, according to Mining Pool stats. Now, what's really interesting is, yes, they are the number one for Ethereum, right? Ethermine is. But if we went into other options, what's interesting is they are for Ethereum Classic still. But, once you start going into like Ergo and some of their other options, so Ergo, for example, Ethermine's not at the top anymore, right? Two miners is kind of starting to take the lead on a lot of these things. It's just kind of interesting to take a look at, and holy moly, we're starting to see some hash rate. Absolutely. We're going to look at this some more here in a second too. But I think what you're going to see from Ethermine is essentially a focus on their staking. I think that they've kind of put mining off to the side here. They got Zcash, Ethereum Classic, Beam, Ravencoin, and Ergo up and ready to go. So you guys can move over to there. Do you really want to support a pool that is supporting, the move to proof of stake for Ethereum? That's really the kind of the question at the end of the day. Me personally, no, but that's also because I know that Ethermine participated in sanctions, which means if we're talking about them participating in censorship, they will be using the MEV relay that does provide censorship against flashbots. That's already been known. So, with their staking method, they are already on that line of basically they will participate in censorship. And so I am against Ethermine in general. And then we got to talk about some of the other pools too and what you can expect there. If you guys don't recall, real quick, I'm going to reiterate this. If you're on FlexPool, if you got your payout, you need to get off FlexPool. FlexPool has made it clear that they will not be doing any dust conversions. If you have like $3, Chris pretty much said, well, you just need to get over it, essentially. So if you have a minuscule amount, and to him, it sounded like $3 is the amount of a minuscule amount, he's not going to pay it out. They're not going to pay it out from FlexPool. So, make sure you're off of the pool if you've already made your final payouts from there. I thought that was a little harsh. I thought that, maybe giving somebody the option to get paid out in Ethereum Classic for that dust, you know, that little bit of leftover would have been advantageous. I understand that he's worried about, you know, essentially being called an exchange. I understand where that comes from. From your perspective, all that matters is, you know, if you have a minuscule amount in Flexpool, you're not getting paid out, right? They're going to take that from you. So keep that in mind. Let's get into mining profitability. Let's look at the, you know, everything that's happening now, and right after a word from today's sponsor. Thanks everybody for, I guess the, you know, all-time high for 640 concurrent viewers right now. Thanks a ton, guys. That's amazing. Be sure to hit that like button if you don't mind. That would be super helpful. And we're going to talk about profitability and how bad it looks right after this. Today's sponsor is Crypto.com. Crypto.com is my go-to centralized exchange for liquidating my crypto assets. With their Crypto.com Visa debit card, I can load up my mined Ethereum to pay for power and other operating costs. In addition to the Visa debit card, there are additional fiat options, including wire transfers, to easily receive your profits. Crypto.com also offers additional services, including trading and even staking, to earn additional revenue on your investments. Join 10 million plus users buying and selling 100 plus cryptocurrencies at true cost by using my affiliate link in the description for a $25 funding bonus. Or enter referral code SOAT at sign up for the same bonus. Remember, cryptocurrency investment comes with significant risks, so do your own research. All right, so first things first, I do realize that our Q&A is going to be extremely long today. So we'll get to that in a second. I'm going to sit here and answer every single question I have. We will stay live as long as it takes to get through all of your questions and answers. So I want to thank everybody again that's here today. Obviously, this is a big day. There's going to be a lot of anxiety, stress, questions surrounding this entire thing. And I hope that we can alleviate some of that by, you know, talking through it. Obviously, I have some of that as well. You know, we're going to get through it. Now, this is our last day. Our last day, you know, we made $97.42. Technically, we're still mining, so we've made $25.90 on Ethereum. I'm going to be moving over to Twitch after all the Q&A and stuff over here on YouTube today, and moving all of my rigs off. You guys can come over to Twitch and follow along there too, because we're basically going to be live all day. I may go take a nap, you know, before the merge tonight, but we're going to be live all day. So bye-bye Ethereum. There's my last 0.06 Ethereum. It's already been converted to Ethereum Classic. So, you know, if you guys were wondering what I was doing, I've been converting my Ethereum to Ethereum Classic, primarily because I'm just kind of interested in what happens to Ethereum Classic. I am going to take a little bit of Ethereum, I think, though, and convert a little bit back to Ethereum to throw it into my MetaMask wallet to see what the ETH airdrop is like. And we'll talk about that here in a second too, because you guys need to realize that the ETH stuff is definitely sketch. There's a lot of stuff going on there, including a 2,000 block pre-mine that's going to be happening as well. So I just want to make sure that you guys are aware of like all the caveats going around. Oh, there's tons of stuff happening right now. So obviously I think that's why I'm going to throw it to questions and answers, because it's going to make it a lot easier to go there. Now, what to mine, right? So we have the 3090 hash rate. Look, K heavy hash rate, heavy hash has showed up. Now it's K heavy hash. It's not heavy hash, because heavy hash would be for OBTC. This is K heavy hash, which is the modified version for Casper. So get it, K for the Casper heavy hash, because Casper is a modified version of heavy hash. Okay. This is finally added onto the main page of what to mine. Pretty interesting stuff. Now, if we went to defaults, which we'll do, we'll show you guys the corrections that we've made. Heavy hash on a 3090 is not 495. It is 1,000. It is 1 gigahash. Its hash rate is at most like 320 watts. Same with like when we get over to ZIL hash, it's not 42 hash a second. It's more like 110 hash a second. Kapow 55, ProgPow 55, Firo Proof of Work 55. This is all the actual numbers that come out. So I try to make those corrections, right? So let's go ahead and calculate that out. And what do we get? We still got Ethereum at the top here, but it's pretty low. It's only over $1 a day. Starting to get pretty rough. Beam, we got $1.93 a day and in revenue and 93 cents a day after power. We got a beam pump coming in. I think chat's been talking about this as well. Xano, $1.87 a day in revenue and 87 cents a day in power. Neoxa, $1.86 a day in revenue, 64 cents a day in power. Look, it's all looking pretty bad, guys, right? Ravencoin, $1.85 a day in revenue, 63 cents a day after power. It's 10 cents a kilowatt hour, too. Firo, $1.83 a day in revenue, 61 cents a day after power. Flux, $1.74 a day in revenue, 87 cents a day after power. Cero, $1.66 a day in revenue, 65 cents a day after power. Casper, $1.24 a day in revenue, 47 cents a day after power. Vertcoin, 97 cents a day in revenue, 11 cents a day after power. Ergo, 95 cents a day in revenue, 1 cent a day after power. This is just absolutely terrifying, guys. We got Ethereum Classic going into the negative 10 cents a day after power. Okay. This is the reality, right? This is the reality of it all. And it's going to get worse. And why is it going to get worse? Well, let's go ahead and look at hash rates. We're going to ignore Bitcoin today because it doesn't really matter. Ethereum has not gone down that much, right? 890 terahash a second. I mean, sure, we've lost like, this is only another 30 terahash a second to come off the network. We got another 890 terahash coming off the network tonight, guys. And coins are already going in the red, right? Coins are already going in the red. We have another 890 terahash to soak up. Okay. This is reality sinking in. A lot of people are going to capitulate, sell off their rigs and stuff. You know, I'll tell you how I feel about it. I talked to my wife earlier. I said, you know, if we can capitalize on this, this is when we try to capitalize on this. This is, for me, another section where I am going to probably sell all the shit I own again. I already have somebody up to sell my bike to. I might even sell my truck. And then maybe try to even get another cheaper lease or an old Honda Civic. And get ready to buy all the GPUs off of everybody. Am I going to be running these GPUs? No, right? Right now, that's not going to be happening. You're not going to be able to mine this far negative. You know, I'll try to be mining. I'll continue to mine Bitcoin, some stuff like that. But this is the next month, the next 2 months, maybe even through the end of the year. It's really hard to tell how long this is going to take to shake out. I think we're going to see some pretty low profitability, and then we're going to start to see things recover, right? Because inevitably things recover because miners are not going to continue, you know, large miners are definitely not going to continue to sit here and take losses, right? So I think there is potential here for a certain amount of people to sit and wait it out, right? I think doing the opposite of whatever everybody else is doing is probably the way to go. So, you know, if everybody else is selling their equipment, maybe it is time to buy equipment. That's not financial advice. That's how I'm thinking about it, especially after my talk with Jesse yesterday and seeing the success that he's had with like rapid innovations and building during bear markets. Or maybe proof of work mining for GPUs is completely dead. That's hard to say for me because I think I see value in at least 3 projects. Okay. I see significant value in Ergo, I see significant value in Flux, and I see significant value in Casper, all for different reasons, right? Ergo, the only ground up competitor to Ethereum that will always remain proof of work, right? That is huge. Flux, the only Web3 solution that is actually functioning and you can utilize to stand up as a virtual private service. Only one. Casper, highest transaction throughput currently available with theoretical transaction throughput faster than anything that I've ever seen. Those are the three reasons why. Okay. Now, if we look at other stuff, sure, we could have arguments for Ravencoin because it's a fork of Bitcoin and it remains as true to Bitcoin as possible. It has a lot of support and miner support. There's the argument for that. Neoxa, we could talk about proof of game and say the proof of game means a lot, but until that really translates into the coin being spent within the gaming servers, which I think has legality issues, it is a completely inflationary coin, which I think means it doesn't actually hold value because the coin's not actually utilized for anything. That's how I see it, just in general. It needs some sort of utility outside of that. But, there are arguments for every other coin. Those are my 3 top proof of work coins for GPU mining and why. Okay. I will actually, out of those 3, I'm curious which ones you guys like the most. So I am going to go ahead and ask another poll. We are going to end this poll. I said, is Craig Satoshi? 16% of you disappoint me, and 84% of you said no. All right, so there that goes. And let's go ahead and look at the rest of the charts though, right? So like we said, another 5 terahash just dropped off of Ethereum. People are starting to drop off right now, right? Ethereum proof of work, you guys need to keep in mind that this is all testnet, right? But we had a whole bunch more pools added. US pools include ethwmine.com, extremehash.net. This is all testnet so far, right? So nothing's mainnet, but figured, you point out if you want to track it over here. Ethereum Classic, we are at 72 terahash a second. Now, luckily, we've seen a 2% increase in the price over the past week. I would expect us to see some more price discovery because I do think that the majority of the price discovery has to go to Ethereum Classic for the ASICs. Will it, right? Are Ethereum, Ethereum Classic ASICs, are they done for? Is this over? Are Ethereum ASICs completely screwed? Well, we'll find out because I have a V1 mini back here that's mining Ethereum right now that will move over when we move over, right? But is it screwed? Maybe. Probably. Right? How many ASICs are just going to go into the trash and get smushed for Ethereum? I'm curious to find out, right? As we have, remember, 890 terahash still to 885 now to come off of Ethereum, right? This is going to be absolute insanity, boys. Absolute insanity. Wow, look at that. All right, so it's all starting to happen, though. This is exciting. All right, so let's take a look at Ravencoin, right? Ravencoin, a lot of people are hoping for this one to take off. We do still have that huge pump lingering around. 100% increase in price over the past 7 days. Looking good on that 9.53 terahash a second, right? A lot of GPU miners going over here. Just absolutely crazy. It's simply insane. This is looking so cool though, right? So Ravencoin pumping as well. Even like the small ones, right? Like let's look at Neoxys. So if you know, you got basically 10 terahash a second on Ravencoin, 20% of that hash rate is on Neoxys. It's down 5% over the past 7 days. It had that huge pump early on, right? For a while. Not seeing really any increase in hash rate today, interestingly enough. So look at some of the other ones that we were kind of seeing on this list, right? Beam is one that is pumping right now. Let's go ahead and look at Beam, right? Beam's an interesting one. Coming kind of out of nowhere, an 81% increase basically in 1 day. And the hash rate is absolutely pumping as well. 723 kilosolutions a second from basically 338. So we've had, you know, 100% increase in hash rate. Kind of probably need to see 100% increase in the price as well to see it kind of hold. Where is this coming from? You know, a lot of it probably still actually just purely coming from people looking for proof of work stuff, but this is pretty cool. A couple others though. There's Conflux here. Conflux is also seeing an increase at 947. Still on Octopus right now. There are rumors of is it Conflux that are rumors of moving to ETH hash? Or was it Cortex? Sorry, I've been sick. It's hard to remember some things sometimes. 14% pump in price over the past week. And 1.15 terahash a second increase. I think we already looked at Ergo, but yeah, Ergo's looking pretty rough. I think Firo, some people were looking at 7% pump, 141 gigahash a second on the network. It was Conflux. Okay. Conflux is supposed to move to ET hash. That should be interesting to see. They also did a snapshot of Ethereum, right? So that's kind of interesting as well. Holy moly, breaking 700 concurrent viewers. This is absolutely, simply insane. I don't think we've seen this since, you know, probably the bull run last year. So thanks everybody for hanging out. We'll get the questions and answers in a second. If you don't mind, if you enjoy the show, go ahead and hit that like button. Let's go for 355 likes. That'd be awesome. And share out the show if you can. Hit that share button and boost the algorithm. So let's go ahead and look at our last day. The last day of Ethereum profitability for mining pools. You know, this is a staple in the live show that we do every day. It'll be a little sad to see this go. I mean, we'll do it for Ethereum Classic, but just kind of reminiscing. You know, things are changing. We're going to have to change some stuff in the show too. Hopefully we'll get better at the show and give you guys more options, right? ZET in first for the past 90 days. F2 pool in second. Mining pool up in third. Last 60 days, ZET in first. Nano pool in second. F2 pool in third. Last 30 days, ZET in first. Crazy pool in second. Mining pool up in third. Last 21 days, ZET in first. Crazy pool in second. F2 pool in third. Last 14 days, ZET in first. Crazy pool in second. F2 pool in third. Last 7 days, ZET in first. 2 miners in second. F2 pool in third. For the last 3 days, Flex pool in first. Mining pool hub in second. And Ethermine in third. And for the last day, we have mining pool hub in first, Ethermine in second, and 2 miners in third. That is the winner, the overall winner, the last winner for the most profitable on Ethereum is mining pool hub in first, Ethermine in second, and 2 miners in third. And this will never be done again on this channel. So there you go. Disappointing winners in my humble opinion, but you know, 2 miners in third, we'll give them the honorable mention. Let's go ahead and look at Ethereum Classic. see who's been most profitable. Over the past 90 days, ZT has been number one, Crazy Pool in second, Ethermine in third for Ethereum Classic. Last 60 days, Crazy Pool in first, Ethermine in second, 2 miners in third. Last 30 days, Crazy Pool in first, Ethermine in second, 2 miners in third. Last 21 days, Crazy Pool in first, Nano Pool in second, Mining Pool Hub in third. Last 14 days, Crazy Pool in first, Nano Pool in second, Ethermine in third. Last 7 days, ZT in first, Crazy Pool in second, Nano Pool in third. Last 3 days, Crazy Pool in first, Ethermine in second, and Nano Pool in third. For the last day, Crazy Pool in first, Ethermine in second, and 2 miners in third. Interesting turn of events when we move over to Ethereum Classic with Crazy Pool being in first. So there you go. ASIC miner profitability, not as interesting today, right? Because we're kind of talking about the Ethereum merge. Those E9s, those iPolo V1s about to just tank when they get forced over to Ethereum Classic. iPolo V1 Classic, though, not looking as bad as you would expect it to be. It's actually doing 2135 on Ethereum Classic hash or ETC hash. Quite interesting, huh? This does mean, of course, you know, if you're mining the 2 miners, it's 1351 a day on the V1 Classic. But as we see, it looks like we're getting into the position where what this tells me is that GPUs are no longer competitive with Ethereum, basically ETC hash ASICs. So you do end up in a position where Ethereum Classic does just essentially become overthrown with ASICs, right? Obviously, my Ethereum ASIC over here is going to go on to Ethereum Classic more than likely. So that's where we're going to be at, right? The other ones, though, to take a look at, the Antminer L7 is finally back over $20 a day on Doge. Now, if you did go ahead and merge mine that with your Litecoin, you're probably going to get a little bit better off the Antminer L7, maybe around like $21, $22 a day, something like that. But, you know, Doge is kind of getting that pump. I do have a theory here that we'll talk about here in a second as well. That is definitely possible. When we look at CoinMarketCap, that I'll show you guys, that could see a Dogecoin pump as well. Interestingly enough, iPolo G1 is an interesting one for Grincoin. By the way, that's a new one I'm trying to get my hands on. Not able to as of yet. And scrolling down from there, we have the KD6 at $7.36 a day. Probably the worst $60,000 you could have spent less than a year ago. ASICs are a dangerous game, boys. They're a dangerous game because they become basically worthless if their networks don't hold up, right? KD5 at less than $5 a day, less than $4 a day, $3.96. And the Antminer S19 Pro at $3 a day, smack dab. $3 a day, and that'd be if you're on Digibyte. Even lower if you're trying to compete on Bitcoin. And the fact of the matter is, like we see with companies like Iris Energy taking over the Bitcoin mining market, you're hard pressed to compete in that industry. Hard pressed to compete in that industry, unfortunately, right? So let's get into questions and answers because I know that you guys want to get into that. Before we do, though, real quick, let's go ahead and do a brief overview. I did say I was going to talk about this. Let's go ahead and look at this, right? Because this is an interesting one, okay, that I wanted to show you guys in general. And that is the idea that basically the top 2 coins within the cryptocurrency right now are proof of work, right? You have Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that will be changing. Now, what we want to look at, of course, is going to be, well, we could look at one of 2 things. From a market cap standpoint, which would be total value, or we could look at a daily 24-hour volume. I tend to, for this particular calculation, look at market cap. So market cap is going to be the current price times the circulating supply. So the price of the coin times the circulating supply gives us that total value. Basically what we have here is we would basically, because essentially if we scroll down to the next proof of work coin, we have Dogecoin. But Dogecoin is only at, 8 billion, whereas you're at like 193 billion on Ethereum and 382 billion on Bitcoin. Okay. It's not even within the same ballpark as the two. So what's going to happen? Well, you're going to have 193 billion stripped out of basically the market cap for proof of work coins, right? So if we actually calculated this out, there is an argument here for an increase in the price of all of the proof of work coins to go up a certain percentage in the amount that, Bitcoin's going to go down. So if we did a percent calculator, right? And we took, and I've already done this before. I think, yeah, I did this earlier. You would see basically Bitcoin being worth 32,000. It's going to be a little bit different now though. Okay. So let's go ahead and do the latest calculation of the potential of Bitcoin going up in price if we base it off of the market cap of proof of work coins versus proof of stake coins. So, what are we going to do here? Okay. So the market cap of Bitcoin is what percentage of the market cap? Well, is that right? Yeah. What is the percentage of, hold on, let me do this out again. I maybe am too sick to do this. Let's go ahead and see. Because you're going to have essentially that stripped out of here, right? So right now, about 50% will be stripped out. So that should mean it'd be 196%, 197% of the price of Bitcoin right now. Now this gets spread out, but you do have an argument for basically, and this is probably not going to actually happen, just to be completely clear, because there's too many outside factors right now. But if you base it off of the, basically the market cap of the amount of proof of work coins in there and their value, right? And you have basically 50% of basically half of the market cap of proof of work coins being removed, and you say that all moves into Bitcoin, then you would have a price prediction of 39,150 for Bitcoin, right? And then conversely, we would have to take the problem is there's too many, right? But you could take Solana, Cardano, we could take a few of the tops, right? XRP. Let me add all these up. Binance. Binance. So that would be anything else here? No. So that would be 88 billion. Right? Take 88 billion, and then we're going to have 192 billion added to it. Which means we would have a reduction down to 46. So you say, what is 46% of 1587? And you would expect, if this is true, for Ethereum to go down to $726. Now, I'd say that this prediction of Ethereum going down to $726 is more likely than the prediction of Bitcoin going up to 39,000. But the prediction of Bitcoin going up to 39,000 is technically utilizing the same math as the reason why Ethereum would go down to $726. Anyways, let's get into questions and answers. Remember, super chats are never required, always appreciated. First to be answered because they're the easiest to read. Tagging @SonOfATech will highlight the message orange, making it easier for me to read, and doesn't cost you anything, so please do it. Otherwise, I won't be able to tell. And then if you'd like to support the channel directly, head on over to sonofatech.locals.com. That is where I only get removed 10% of whatever you send me over there for support. Also, it is free to become a member and follow, so it's the best place to get your notifications. And then, on top of that, you could also send a super sticker, which boosts the algorithm. I want to thank everybody for being here. We definitely cracked an all-time high for a long time. The poll results, let's go ahead and get those in. I said out of the three, you know, which coin, and let's hopefully this pops up soon. Which coin were you guys more, of my top three, were you guys more interested in? 52% of you said Ergo, 33% said Flux, and 14% said Casper. Raymond LB says, @SonOfATech, I put in a new 101, just moved to a different day if you don't have time later today. Yeah, I'll be streaming today, so I probably won't have time later today. I'll get that rescheduled with you. You can go into Calendly and move that. Thanks for catching that, Raymond. Akuna Matata says, @SonOfATech, at what point will you shut down? At the point to where it's not profitable, right? Things that will not get shut down, like clearly the ASICs aren't really being affected that much, so the ASICs will remain running. Probably even the Ethereum Classic ASIC will remain running because, as you saw, currently, like the one I have here, the right behind me, actually running right now, is profitable on Ethereum Classic still. I'll probably throw it solo on Ethereum Classic though too. We got, let's see, the MAB saying, @SonOfATech, do you plan on profit switching or mining on coin price potential or spec mining? Profit switching, no. Mining, spec mining, yes. If I can find some projects, yes. Getting my CPU miners up and running is something I'm interested in as well. And then trying to find some capital to order pallets of GPUs from AliExpress and Alibaba and stuff like that is definitely something I'm going to be trying to do as well. Nathan Tufts says, @SonOfATech, have you set up your ETHW node? It's currently syncing. It still says like 60 hours left. Unfortunately, I have about 150 or 250 gigabytes synced out of like 1.1 terabytes. About 22% last I checked. Jimmy Yang Liang says, @SonOfATech, in your opinion, what is the highest ETH will go and when? My prediction, like I said, actually would have showed that over the next few months, we'll see Ethereum go down to $760 or $726 because now it's competing with all of the proof of stake coins. Let's see. Seven Ho says, @SonOfATech, are you a big fan of KDX? No, I don't like ASIC coins. ET says, @SonOfATech, would you prefer a local sub or a wallet donation? Remember your name. You'll see you again. RIDT. I'll try to remember your name. A local sub is technically, like, if you leave like it attached, is a recurring revenue that allows me to plan out exactly what I have to do financially, right? So that helps from that perspective. A wallet donation is nice because technically, like, if you donate to like a Bitcoin or Ethereum address or something like that, I get 100% of it. Nick G says, @SonOfATech, opinion on BitBoy suing Atazi for exposing him promoting a pump and dump. I already did plenty of videos on that, so you can go check that out on my secondary channel. We covered it, and I will link that channel, or I'll link that video to you specifically. Give me 1 second. If you guys aren't aware, we have a second channel, and it is all clips from my Twitch channel, and it is a lot of reactions and stuff like that. There's that. Okay. Footlicker says, ask Sematech what bike do you ride? I have a 2014 FZ09. Or I have one right now. I won't have one as soon as I am done with these antibiotics, I guess. Noah first says, ask Sematech if you had a G in hash, where would you mine? What do you mean a G in hash? Don't know what you mean by that. Sorry. Raymond says, ask Sematech pros and cons with 2 miners, options for mining and getting paid out in BTC. I don't really have any, I don't really care either way. I'm not a fan of getting paid out in Bitcoin necessarily. Especially moving forward here, I think your biggest gains are going to come from GPU mineable coins that start to pump. So you're like, the thing is like, we're going to be in a price discovery phase. It's inevitable that you will see a pump in one of these coins. I don't know which one, and I don't know by how much, but I can reasonably assert that one of these GPU mineable coins, whether it be Flux or Ergo or Casper or ETC, even on the ASIC side of things, they're going to pump. Which one? I don't know. By how much? I don't know. It would be silly to be sitting in Bitcoin technically, but of course, then I do have the argument for Bitcoin to technically go to whatever, $39,000. Elm Aussie says, ask Sematech, do you think big GPU farms will be out of mining after the merges? I think is what you're asking. And my answer to that would be, we don't know what GPUs technically they have. We assume we have the 170HXs, which are custom drivers, and we don't actually know the true hash rate too, but those are memory intensive. So there is an argument for those being so efficient on something like Ergo that they completely swamp the Ergo network and nobody else can mine Ergo. Where you end up with, because we know that like Hut 8, for example, has said that NVIDIA has provided them with GPUs that are more efficient than anything anybody else has access to. And in turn, that for Ethereum, which in turn means is more than likely a memory intensive type GPU, meaning it would want to go to a memory intensive type coin, meaning that the home miners would be more advantageous to go to a balanced coin or core memory algorithm like Flux or Ravencoin, or a full on core intensive algorithm like Casper, because these specialized GPUs are basically going to be running cut down cores with high performance memory, meaning that they're going to go to Ergo. And like Hut 8 will be smashing Ergo, right? That is a possibility, right? That's why tonight, like watching everything and seeing where everything gets moved to will be extremely interesting. The Yogrove says, ask Sematech, since no other coins will be profitable at first after merge, that's not necessarily true. We don't know that for sure, right? We'll check tonight. Will the chains all suffer problems then? I think some chains could suffer problems from 51% attacks. The most common chains that would have issues with 51% attacks, I think, would be like the clear ones like Ravencoin, Ethereum Classic, Neoxa, that sort of thing. There is potential for that. I guess even Ergo to a certain extent. I think Ergo is a little bit more difficult, but is possible. Flux is a little bit more difficult, but possible. ETC has a lot of stops in place for 51% attacks, so I don't think ETC will suffer from one. Because they've already had ETC's already had a ton of experience with stopping 51% attacks, and they've worked on the algorithm to prevent that, right? So I don't think that's necessarily an issue on ETC. But we'll have to see what happens. Kunabatai says, as Son of a Tech, now that Casper is on what to mine, what do you think there are realistic predictions? I understand not financial advice. Luckily, they have Casper listed incorrectly for their hash rates by about 50% on most of them. So I think there's still an advantage there. Potentially, I'll still be probably moving everything over to Casper solo mining. I technically need to upgrade my Casper node to 12.6, so maybe we'll work on that today later. 12.5 is fine right now, so I don't know. And then I need to upgrade the Stratum as well for Casper. But that's kind of where I'm at. Lord Beer says, as I think I have solar power, I just want to run my rigs on morning, but is there a way without need to the 24-hour average? Have solar, just want to run my rigs on morning, but is there a way without need for the 24-hour average? Are you talking about essentially like time and pool? Because if you're going to be shutting off and turning back on, you're going to lose priority in the pool, right? If that's your question, you will lose priority in the pool. Windfair says, as I'm a tech, can you explain why you think Casper is the future? I don't think that Casper is the future. I just say it's one of the top threes. Specifically, and hold on guys, I'm losing chat because we have somebody spamming, so we're going to go ahead and get Cloud Macro banned here real quick. There we go. All right, now I'm able to read this a little bit better. Sorry about that. And let me get back to that question. So Casper, not the future by any means. Now, what makes it unique is the transactions per second and Ghost DAG protocol. And from a developer standpoint, a developer that's been developing and was helping in projects like Ethereum from the very get-go and whose work has been cited in Ethereum, right? So for specifically Ghost DAG protocol, which has now been implemented into Casper, a cut down lesser version of Ghost DAG protocol was utilized in Ethereum itself, and he is cited for that work. So that is the bullish reason behind Casper. Okay. We're basically seeing it come to full fruition within Casper. Mr. Wright says, at Simon Tech, what about CPU mining? I mean, if you got CPUs, you can CPU mine, right? I'm aware of the Jago N coin, and I'm aware of like the Rabid Mining's latest video this morning. 60&6 says, at Simon Tech, please explain what is driving the rise of value in Ravencoin. I thought a rise in hash rate doesn't equal value. A rise in hash rate does equal value. We've talked about this multiple times. Like the people that want to say that the rise in hash rate isn't going to equate to a rise in value haven't looked at the history of blockchain in the first place. Initially, no, right? It's a realized value, right? Like the Bitcoin halving doesn't affect the price of Bitcoin the day of. It affects the price of Bitcoin 6 months later. You're short-sighted if you say right now that, the price isn't perfectly matching the amount of hash rate increase on each one of these projects. It's going to be somewhat of a slow burn. What will be interesting is seeing that burn compound with the halving of Bitcoin. That's what will actually get interesting, right? At the end of the day, that's where all the not money, but all the increases are going to come from within all the proof of work coins. Anthony B says, as Simon Tech, we think Ethereum Classic will go back up eventually to mid 100s. I mine for investment, not cash flow. You think that it'll go back up into the hundreds? Sure, not until the next bull run, unless, of course, we're talking about, there is potential. Look, it's in the top 100. It's about to have a whole bunch of ASICs move to it. And just for the reason that we just talked about, if we see 890 terahash go over to Ethereum Classic, Oof. And that's a lot of hash, bro. Right? And that amount of hash will result in some sort of increase of price. The fact of the matter is this. The value of proof of work coins comes from the cost to mint that coin related to the amount miners are paying in power. And that will always remain to be true. So your inflationary factor is directly related to a real world cost. Now, with a huge amount of hash rate moving over, a lot of it's not going to be able to be handled, right? So a lot of it's going to get turned off. But there is still going to be a relative increase on all of the networks for all of the hash rate. So eventually that proves out to be true. It'll just be 6 months to a year from now when we start to see it all shake out, more than likely, right? Tomorrow is just going to be an absolute cluster. Happy Dictator says, Asymptotic spec mining Conflux on a small rig, about 200 mega hash a second. It's making like 60 coins a day. Might be cool to have a bag if they switch algos. Yeah, you could mine it like on the one that it's on today and see what happens when it switches algos. Obviously, it's kind of a smart move for them to switch algos because it can soak up some free security. And I think there is an argument for that, for sure. I think I missed a super chat down here. I was trying to find it. Patty Scabby, $4.99. Thank you, good sir. Says, depower is the key to the future of DeFi. I don't know what depower is, and it sounds like you're just shilling something. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. The Pirate says, Asymptotic ETH gas prices are going up today. Worth exchanging now for other coins or wait after the merge? It's going to be up to you, really, right? Like, there is the potential that you get the free airdrop of ETH proof of work if you have that, like, you know, stored in a MetaMask wallet. Maybe you want to go for that, right? Zogmeister says, Asymptotic to celebrate the merge, I picked up an RTX 2080 for cheap. There you go. Oh, great one says, Asymptotic, sorry if this was mentioned, but do you think the use case wise proof of work versus proof of stake coins tokens have issues being connected by a bridge? No, we've seen proof of stake to proof of work bridges. You know, obviously, like Ethereum was proof of work and every proof of stake coin is bridged over. You have bridges from Flux to a ton of different projects, including proof of stake projects. I don't think that there's any problem with that, right? Interoperability can be great, right? For sure. ER Ted says, Asymptotic, you just missed the Jagan coin for CPU. Made $75 for 4 days on my 3 CPUs. Congrats on that. Yeah, I don't do a lot of CPU coin stuff. My CPUs are kind of shut down right now. I've actually been building rigs for... I was taking a lot of my CPUs and building rigs for friends and family. So I have the 2 rigs back here for my kids. I also built one for my daughter for her mom's house. Shh, I haven't told her that yet. That's for later. Crap. Don't tell her, guys. All right, so I got that one going, and then I got another 2 other buddies that I built rigs for. So, you know, I kind of been going down that route, just helping people out. Mr. Wright says, Asymptotic, is there a way to find out how much ETH network collapsed? Miner count versus validator count. We'll probably be able to see total validator count later, I would assume. We have another super chat, or another 2 super chats. We have Martin Pineros, $5 super chat, says, can you walk through how to mine Casper? Right now I switched from ETH to Ergo and Raven. What else can I do with 133090s? I mean, I have a guide on it for solo mining, which is probably the way that I would suggest it. You can go watch that movie if you like, or that, you know, that video if you like. All this stuff is, well, that's the Here we go. Here's the solo mining guide. And then we had a $4.99 super chat. Thank you, Patty. Decentralized power, solar, etc. is the key to the future of decentralized finance. You mean being off grid, etc., right? Being independent from power companies? And I think I agree with you. Yes. Sorry, I misunderstood earlier. Probably need to be, yeah. Depower just sounds like something that like somebody could be like shilling. So, sorry, that's how I originally saw it there. Katana says, that's not an attack. It's like everyone is standing in front of a huge merge portal into another dimension, holding their stack of ETH, hoping they don't get vaporized on the way through. See you on the other side. I mean, I think there's pretty low risk for that happening, because it's clear that like Vitalik and the Ethereum team are willing to basically manipulate the chain to make sure that doesn't happen. Right? They've clearly stated that. Trader Joe says, that's Tech. What about the ETH hard fork? Who is eligible for the airdrop? Everybody is eligible either in a supported exchange like Polo Nex, which I wouldn't trust, or on a self-hosted wallet like MetaMask, which I would trust that. Now, I was reading they are having trouble with the chain ID because everything... all of the current like DeFi like dApps and stuff are based on the chain ID of one. I'm wondering what they're going to do with that. We're going to find out tonight. You know, they're supposed to deploy ETHW within an hour after the merge tonight. So we'll probably stay live and pay attention to what's going to happen there tonight as well, because that's going to be a big deal. Like kind of seeing how all of this plays out. I'm super duper curious, right? Nathaniel says, ask Tech, how you doing with the nicotine? No nicotine in over a month now. Back off of it again, which is great. Thanks for asking. Mining and Trading says, ask Tech, building up position Flux, rigs are off and back to trade, but I'm still sick. Like the only reason I'm able to actually do what I'm doing is because they gave me all that medication. So I don't know. I got 8 more days of antibiotics and stuff like that. I really just want to get back in the gym. Mining and Trading says, that's Tech, building up a position on Flux, rigs are off and back to trading. Whatever the bulls and bears are willing to pay for it. Yeah, I mean, I threw $500 or whatever at Ergo Pad and staked it, right? I got a big bag of Casper that I'll hold on to until next bull run. You know, that sort of stuff. Kind of on the short midterm, I converted a bunch into Ethereum Classic, right? Pranav says, at Tech for ETHW node, do you have a GUI interface or is it just syncing over the command line? No, there's no GUI interface. People don't use graphical user interfaces for nodes. Give me Ubuntu command line or give me death, sir. We have a few more. We got a membership from Gold. Thank you for becoming a member. Members get access to exclusive emojis, including the Soap Goat and the Soap Coin. More coming actually soon. In addition to that, you get access to the Rocket Chat. So thank you for becoming a member. Raven Rebels, thanks for the $5 or 55 sec. I don't know what that's actually worth. Says, how many hours left to the merge? Thanks. Let's go ahead and look. 10 hours and 41 minutes left to the merge. Estimated time 12:31 a.m. Central, 1:31 a.m. Eastern. And we had a super chat sticker from ET7313 for $10. Thank you, sir. Boosting that algorithm. Yes, I know nodes have GUIs and you can build them through GUIs. I just don't like using GUIs. They're also less reliable because you can't set up cron jobs to run them. You can set up some stuff, but you know what? Come on. I guess it's fine for adoption. I'll give you that. SM Attack, what are your thoughts on Joe Coin? No thoughts. It sounds fucking stupid. I haven't looked into it, so I have no idea. But the name sounds fucking stupid. Kuna Matata says, SM Attack, Bits had a video of a commercial large-scale ETH farm that tested on Ergo. Ergo is about to get hit by large hash. That's what I was saying. Yeah, for sure. I think you were correct. Leonardo Muhammad says, SM Attack, Equihash, Kaku Core, or mem intensive. Equihash isn't really mem intensive. No. Kaku I haven't tested in a while. I don't recall it being really that mem intensive either. Second TL Mining says, SM Attack, what are your thoughts on GetBlock subpools luck at the moment? This moment feels like solo mining. The luck is very low for the subpools. You are correct. And it's going to get worse because, unfortunately, you know, we can go back to this. Let me see if we can get, I wasn't pulling up like evidence here for a while. Evidence, right? It's the evidence, the evidence. All right. So we go back to, you know, mining pool stats and we look at Ergo, which like Ergo is legitimately probably the only, look, I think Ergo is legitimately the only option for GPUs by and large post-merge. I get it. Like people are super high on like Flux, but I guess Ravencoin too, but I think a majority of the GPUs are going to go to Ergo. Potentially. We'll have to sit back and wait and watch. We saw a lot go to Ravencoin, so there's that. But okay, so if we look at it, what I really care about is essentially this two miners, right? 9.7 terahash. Nanopool, all the traditional pools, right? Nanopool and two miners soaking up all that hash rate, right? It's absolutely ridiculous. Get blocks all the way down here at number 9 in the giga hashes, and get blocks by far the most innovative. Just goes to show you, like, innovative isn't going to combat laziness, right? Unfortunately. This one looks like suspiciously somebody that just spun up too. Maybe a pool or something. I don't know. All right. Ty says, SM Attack Beam still 80% profit after 2 hours. What happened with Beam? We already talked about the increase in the price of Beam. And we also showed it over here as well. We kind of covered it. It's up 77% in price. The hash rate, it's still, you know, I think it dropped a little bit. It was up over 700 kilosolutions a second. As far as the reason for it, you know, I hadn't found out why. We could go to Twitter and maybe look. Let me go to Twitter and see if we have anything going up. I am following Beam, but I didn't see. Yeah, there's really not a reason as to why that I see on Twitter anywhere. It all is the same reason why everything that is proof of work has been pumping over the past couple of weeks, which is ETH moving to proof of stake, right? I don't see another valid reason outside of that personally. Maybe if you guys see some other reason for Beam in particular, all I'm seeing is that Beam was the next in line to get a pump because it's proof of work. That's all I see. Gamer Kid says, "That's Simon Tech. What about PPS on Hivon? Doesn't that cut out time penalties?" Not all the way. No, you still get cut there, and it's PPS plus, right? Akuna Matai says, "Ask Tech, with what to mine being off on Casper hash rate, is there an example of them fixing it? For example, if Flux hash rates are off still to this day." I mean, it's off still, yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Yes, today we did the 3090 corrected, right? It was profitable, but not extremely profitable. Tactics272 says, "Ask Tech, hey mate, thanks for everything. Still here watching every day. Hope you feel better. Thank you, good sir." Michael FB says, "Hi, Son of a Tech. How important is exchange listings during price discoveries? Can some coins be handicapped by the lack of listings for the time being in the merge?" Definitely, right? Like Ethereum Classic has the advantage of kind of being already on things like Coinbase, Crypto.com, all the big ones, right? Flux kind of has an advantage of having a Binance Smart Chain wrapped version of itself on Crypto.com. Ergo has the advantage of being on KuCoin. The further down the list you go, and the harder it gets to liquidate, the harder it is for miners to liquidate, the less amount of money that's available to actually sell, and pay for your power and that sort of stuff, the worse it gets down the line, right? Ty says, "Ask Simon Tech, what happened with Beam?" We just talked about that. Raymond says, "Ask Simon Tech, can you talk about the daily active users on Flux, Ergo, Raven, etc.?" I don't know. I don't have those numbers at hand, so no, I can't really talk about that right now. Oh, great one says, "Ask Simon Tech, I'm sure the SEC is going to try an argument, but crypto literally shouldn't have any jurisdiction." Well, I think there will be jurisdiction that they argue surrounding. I mean, I think that there's probably wolves salivating within the SEC at the move to proof of stake for Ethereum. Detroit Irish says, "Ask Simon Tech, didn't you say Conflux token snapshot of ETH? Why would they do that? It's basically like having a backup of Ethereum. In case something happens with proof of stake on Ethereum, they could be a backup. But it looks like ETH proof of work or ETHW is going to be that backup. So I don't know. It's really up in the air. I think there is like an argument for having a backup of Ethereum with both ETHW and Conflux. I think that that's important because we don't know what's going to happen with proof of stake. We could you could have people shout as much as you want that it's pointless and it's stupid and it's never going to matter. But at the end of the day, it kind of does matter because like if ETH proof of stake merge ends up going completely horribly and everything collapses, having a backup's not a bad idea. I mean, sure, Ethereum themselves could probably roll it back somehow, and they probably will. But, if they do that, like Ethereum's just as screwed as they were before. And then do you really want to continue to throw your consensus and your governance down that, or your, governance down that path? Or do you want to move on to a different governance, which could be provided by ETHW? Now, ETHW, I don't think is going to have the proper governance. I think Conflux does. ETHW isn't because this is going to be all under Justin Sun and Chandler Go. And unfortunately, we see already a 2,000 block pre-mine. Not necessarily the best foot to start off on for ETHW, right? Nicholas Kane says, at Son of a Tech, do you think the closing hours of ETH, we might see some big ETH blocks if people start dumping? Possibly. I think majority of what you're going to see is people moving it over to MetaMask, etc., so that they can get the ETHW tokens and just make some free money. Adam says, "Ask Son of a Tech, long live long and Firo, live long and betray miners." Nah, thanks, bro. Oh, I think we missed a couple. We had a super chat sticker for $13.99 Canadian. Acros Mining, thank you, good sir. And then we had a super chat from Oh Great One, says, "I just joined Locals, love your content. Thank you, sir, for supporting the channel. And I think that we had a $5 super chat from Michael Flores. Sorry for missing this. Said, hello, would you know how to set up a dual CPU motherboard to CPU mine Raptorium? Well, you would need a socket and a CPU that support dual CPUs, but it's really not hard to set up a dual CPU motherboard and then mine with it. You would just basically, you could easily plug in a high volume USB stick and tell it to mine on the CPUs, and it's going to pick up the two CPUs on the motherboard. No big deal. Excuse me. Most of my coughing happens at night, but maybe my cough medicine is wearing off now. Harvey says, that's some attack for ETH drop. Can you have your ETH on other chains like Optimism or Polygon? No, you cannot. They must be on layer 1. We covered that last week. Rad CPU Man says, that's some attack. Will I be able to claim the ETH proof of work if my wallet is on something like Trust Wallet? As long as you control the keys to the wallet and it is layer 1, yes. Rad CPU Man says, ask Simon Attack, when is the ErgoPad stake giveaway? You missed it. It is complete, and it happened on the 3rd of September. Pranav says, ask Simon Attack, Neoxa is a GUI. There we go. I already talked about that. There's command line too. Still, which is how I built mine, but you know. Doc Duggan says, ask Simon Attack, do Flux parallel assets affect Flux's value? That's an interesting question because the answer is clearly yes, but it gets a little convoluted, right? Because the value of a parallel asset when added to liquidity on Ethereum, for example, may not actually represent the value of Flux itself. It's the same problem as like staked Ethereum being wrapped representing the value of staked Ethereum or Ethereum. It's not always one-to-one. Mining and Trading says, as I'm a deck, don't ruin your health chasing that money. Well, I have to pay to feed the kids. You know what I'm saying, bro? You guys got to realize, like, this channel makes like, I think last month made like $2,000, and it's my only income right now, and that doesn't even pay for my rent. So I'm absolutely screwed right now. Like, I'm working. I got other stuff I'm working on, but you know, like, don't tell me not to feed my family. You can right off with that. That's what we're here to do too. It just is what it is, man. I'm here to pay for and feed my family, and if I got to work while I'm sick, I got to fucking do it. I don't give a shit. Just don't. Harvey says, at some attack, there's a new coin called Poop on the Moonbeam chain. I bought $40 worth of it because of its name. Congratulations, good sir. CJ iPod says, at some attack, I prefer Flux due to Web3. But what do you mean by Web3? Right? So Flux solves a specific issue on Web3, which is important, which is, you know, basically having virtual private servers decentralized. Yes. But the blanket statement of all things Web3, it doesn't solve all of them, right? Like storage coming along, sure. Persistent storage, I think they're working on. Proof of useful work they're working on. But there are other avenues of Web3 outside of Flux. Richard says, that's Simon Tech, you just F-bombed twice. Yeah, it's my channel. I can't do that. Harvey says, that's Simon Tech, I think you have been holding a negative bias towards Raven. Is it just because you're a heated Texas miner? Well, Raven is just a fork of Bitcoin, which is like cool, but all right. I've held a ton of Raven for a long time. I probably have more than a lot of people. I can't mine it because of the heat. Yes, because I'm a Texas miner. But also I've been holding it long enough to participate in the community long enough to see that it is a very slow moving project, and I don't see it as something that's going to do that well. Like right now, their NFT system is all janky. It's like not even as smooth as like Ergo, where I can go in and actually mint anything myself. All of their auction house stuff goes through like weird bidding systems that you have to contact a third party on, and is doxed because you have to register it. So why would I want to participate in a doxed version of an NFT auction house, or have to go through some weird third party? Like, it doesn't really solve the things that it's supposed to be solving. The Stick Shark says, that's Samatech. What miner do you use for mining Casper? It depends on, of course, the coin or the actual card. And that also we have a video on. And you can check that out. Right. I'll get it linked to you. Let's see. I cover all this stuff, guys. I know that, like, I get it. Like, we're getting suppressed and a lot of y'all aren't seeing the content. I get that. But we cover it all. Village BC says, that's Samatech. What are your thoughts on Zilliqa? They seem to have security issues based on the way that they process, of course, their blocks and only do it once every hour. XN Mateo says, that's Samatech. Put XMR address in the description. I could probably find one. I don't have one right now. I can add, but thank you. Oh, man. Anonymous says, that's Samatech. Are you secretly hoping ETH implodes? No, because then the entire market does. Trinity Black says, Aave, ETH APY just jumped to 115%. Is that because everybody's borrowing to essentially capitalize on this free ETHW, probably? Aqualex says 770 viewers. Holy moly. 765, but, you know, pretty good. Pretty good. I appreciate it, everybody. Happy Dictator says, as Savatech 170 HX is getting 400 mega hash a second on Ergo at like 200 watts. I'm going to wait and see what happens before I move to Ergo. Yeah, and that's what I was saying earlier, Happy Dictator. If big mines are moving over to there, Ergo may not be an option for a lot of us. Because those 170 HXs are just going to absolutely smash it. You know. There's no way around it. Beatmaster says, as Samatech, are they main ETH contenders so far? Ergo, Flux, and Neoxa. So there, well, it depends on what perspective you're talking about. If you're talking about a direct competitor, there's only one that's going to be proof of work, and that's Ergo. If you're talking about from a mining profitability standpoint, there's nothing. Technically, I guess Ethereum Classic and Ergo, right? So you're providing dApps, smart contracts, all that sort of stuff. There's only one, really. It's Ergo. From a technical perspective, right? Adam asks if we've checked the merge recently. Yeah, I mean, we've been checking it. It's like sitting right here. 10 hours and 22 minutes left. 2,600 blocks, essentially. 12:32 a.m. No, it has not happened yet. Han Solo coming in with the positivity. We all gonna make it. There you go. I mean, we all make it at the end of the day. Oh, great one. Thanks for the $49.99 $50 super chat. It says $50 super chat. Here's another for all the time I've watched you. Thank you, good sir. Thanks for the support. You rock, man. XN Mateo says, Asamatech, do you consider CPU mining? Monero is so much cool cypherpunk spirit. I mean, yeah, but you just set up the botnets and hack other people and mine Monero. Do you not understand how Monero works? You don't mine Monero on your own CPUs. You mine Monero on other people's CPUs. Clearly, I'm making a joke. I am not hacking other people's CPUs and mining Monero with them. And yeah, I do not condone the hacking of or the crypto jacking of AWS servers or Amazon, or Azure servers. Would never condone that. But if you want to be honest, that's all Monero is. It's literally a whole bunch of hackers hacking, crypto jacking, data centers. How do I know that? Because that's literally what I used to do for a living, was work in that space and stop crypto jacking. It's like one of the number one things we had to get rid of all the time. Sam Siak TV says, ask Symantec why is there on every ETH merge countdown a different time, 30, because you can't predict it exactly. It's based on a moving target, which is the amount of hash rate on the network, and the hash rate on the network is constantly dropping. And how fast the API adapts. EtherXE, thank you for the 350 czar. Says, you sound a lot better today, just in time for the merge. Yes, sir. We'll be streaming it tonight, good sir. Oh. Richard says, ask Symantec, does everyone get the same airdrop amount of ETH? No, you get the amount of ETHW that's in your wallet on the airdrop. Sun says, sup, son of a tech. What are you playing with your remaining ETH after the merge? You gonna stake it? No. I don't even have any ETH. Most of it went to Ethereum Classic. I am going to pull maybe like half an ETH out and put it in MetaMask to get half a ETHW just to play with it on the network. Tune Guy says, ask Tech, if your pool is PPLNS, does that mean you should shut down early? Not necessarily. Like, I think you should shut down early if you're on Flex Pool and you've gotten a payout, right? Check each pool's specific integration. We have another $5 super chat coming from Steven Malaysia saying, don't worry about the merge, guys. We created 10K million jobs. Yes, sir. 10,000 million jobs. And my son killed 100,000 million grunts in Halo last weekend. Pot Life Gamer says, that's something. Have you tried lemon tea for the coffee? Yeah, I do tea. Ginger tea, actually, with lemon in it. Richard Sullivan says, that's something. The only reason I said that is because you're bleeping out the F-bomb away. Yeah, I hit it and sometimes I don't. It really, like, we're long enough into the live stream, it doesn't matter, right? Like, the only time you can't technically cuss on the live stream is, like, within the first 3 to 5 minutes. Plus, like, we're marked for adult, so we're okay. Ashen says, that's Tech. What do you think of Aeon? No real feelings on it. Jacob Twitchell says, did you say you might be doing call-ins today? Maybe tonight, yeah. I don't know. I haven't figured out how I'll set that up. Crypto Craig says, Ask Tech, I don't have a question, but I want to thank you for all your videos and all the help over the years. ETH end of an era and on to a new one. I mean, this really is like the biggest event ever to happen, right? Miller Mining Company says, Ask Tech, if you're live stream tonight on YouTube or Twitch, what time? Hope you feel better. Tonight we'll probably be live streaming on Twitch around 10:30 p.m. Central Time. Ham Solo says, Ask Tech, will Joe Brandon go after proof of work people now that they are going hard against proof of work after the ETH merge? Are you... I get, okay. So will the White House or will the Biden administration go after proof of work? I mean, they say they will. I don't think that they can get anything through in time. And here's the other fact of the matter that like nobody's paying attention to. Texas and Florida are both working on state constitution entries that prevent people from stopping them from earning or owning cryptocurrencies. I think you do end up in a position where we are in a very odd spot where we have basically sanctuary states for cryptocurrency. You know, kind of like how there's like sanctuary states for other things. I think we'll have sanctuary states for cryptocurrency. I think Texas will be one. I think Florida will be one. Maybe some others like New Hampshire, West Virginia, some stuff like that, right? Maybe Idaho, that sort of thing. Yeah. Nathan Tuff says, where can I find your videos on how to mine Monero on other people's CPUs? You don't. Carl says, ask Tech, what are your views on BTG? Are you saying Bitcoin Gold? Gross. Over Flux, lower DAG, and older GPUs out of work on ETH? No. No. No, my brain won't let me do it. I can't do it. Leave Bitcoin Gold alone. EtherXE says, I think, okay, yeah, we got that. We got another super chat from A-Stake, the 20 sec, says, can I hold ETH on ZIL Core and get the ETH drop? I do not believe so, no. Basically, to get the drop, ZIL Core would have to add support for ETH. And they aren't going to do that the night of. The only way to get it, the only way that I think you should try to get the ETH drop is through MetaMask. John B says, that's Tech. Thanks you for the videos. You're still my main source of crypto info. Not sure how we're going to survive here in the Netherlands. Electricity is up to 60 cents a kilowatt hour. Expect a big dump of GPU soon. I do too, good sir. Greg says, thanks, Tech. You got me into mining back in 2020. It's been a fun ride, and Ethereum was a fun experience learning how to mine ETC, or etc. You got to be careful with that ETC, because it could mean Ethereum Classic. Thanks for your great content. Thanks for the support, Greg. Carl says, that's Tech. What are your views on BTG over Flux? I already said no BTG. Thanks. Bitcoin Gold is trash. Mass says, ask Tech. I see a lot of people say ASIC resistant algos like RandomX prevents large mining farms. I think this is nonsense. What are your thoughts? Well, like RandomX, we already talked about, that is pretty much taken over by crypto bot farms and crypto jacking. Village BC says, at Tech, the ETH airdrop and people involved is what makes it scammy to me. It was like a pure fork new chain governance funding setup, and I could see it being legit. No, I think you're short-sighted on that, Village BC, because the intention of ETH is to be a pure snapshot of Ethereum, meaning the airdrop is literally all the Ethereum that is currently in circulation on Ethereum will still need to be in circulation on ETH. So how do you do that? You say every wallet that's holding Ethereum right now over on Ethereum is still holding that Ethereum over on ETH. That perfectly makes sense. That's not scammy at all, in my humble opinion. If you're holding Ethereum on ETH right now, you'll be holding Ethereum on ETH when it happens. It's literally a snapshot. It's a backup. It's a backup of Ethereum. That's how you picture it. It's not supposed to be a fork or a new chain. It's literally supposed to be a backup. Richard Sullivan says, ask Tech, maybe I'm a little slow, but just to be clear, if I have 300 ETH, I will get 300 ETH airdrop. Yep, exactly. If you have 1 ETH, you'll get 1 ETH. 1-to-1 ETH from ETH to ETH. FC says, ask Tech, appreciate the OC for our friendly ghost tag. Yes, sir. Gandalf Gray says, ask Tech, why has CBeth, I don't know what CBeth is, not caused a Luna effect yet with people cashing out their staked ETH? I'm considering cashing out and buying back in with a small amount of ETH long term. I don't know. I don't know exactly what you're asking either. ST ETH maybe? Because STETH is basically a futures contract for the future price of Ethereum when it becomes unstaked. Ryan says, that's Symantec Neox are worth checking out. I mean, yeah, it's worth checking out. I mean, you could go play Rust and earn some for free. You can mine it, sure. It's just a fork of Ravencoin that added in proof of game. That's all it is, really. Raymond says, that's Symantec, in your interview yesterday, you talked about ETH running the risk of becoming a security. Do you really think so after Greg Gensler's statement about Bitcoin and ETH not being a security? Well, he made that statement based on the current implementation of ETH in its current setting, right? Like, maybe it sneaks under the radar for a while, but I think technically it does make it a security, right? Gandalf Gray says, outside of the deck, if you getting a pallet of GPUs, I'd be down to throw in. Yeah, I got to figure out how I got to sell. I got to get my bike sold, get a few grand from that. I think I'll get like $6,000 from that. I'll try to sell my truck, maybe. I don't want to sell my truck, but I gotta capitalize if I can, maybe for another, like, I don't even know what the truck's worth anymore, actually. I have no idea. Happy Dictator says, that's Symantec, you would think in Florida power would be cheaper with being the sunshine state. I mean, you have to utilize the power that's there, right? What's available. So you got to build the infrastructure. I don't think that Florida built a lot of infrastructure for themselves either, right? Don't they import a lot of power? Detroit Irish says, ask Symantec, any luck on ETC mode lately? I'm not sure what you're talking about. Ben Hashwings. Ben has wings. There we go. At Symantec, thoughts on Ergo to BTC payouts on 2 miners. I just would rather have Ergo than Bitcoin. Like I said, like in the short term, the best case is going to be the proof of work coins going up in price. I don't know which one, and I don't know by how much, but the GPU mineable coins, specifically GPU mineable proof of work coins, have the most potential for going up. Richard Sullivan, thanks for the $10 super chat. You know I can't read that. Mid G says, that's Symantec, at least that's what they have on their GitHub repository. Also, nobody said yet of the miner DAO. I don't know what this is in reference to. I'm sorry. Gandalf Gray says, that's Symantec. CB ETH is the Coinbase stake unlock for ETH. So ST ETH, same thing, right? The same concept, I should say. Snarks Domain says, that's Symantec. I'm looking forward to some downtime for GPU maintenance. If you sell your truck, get a Honda Prelude. I used to have an 89. Yeah, 89 Honda Prelude with 4-wheel steering. Give you $350 for the truck. F off, dude. Detroit Irish says, Coinbase is allowing users to withdraw ETH that they had staked on Coinbase. You give to an exchange ETH to Coinbase ETH and then ETH. Yeah. Wes says, hi Symantec, what kind of truck and bike are you selling? The bike is a 2014 SC09 and the truck is a 2012 Silverado Lone Star Edition. Nicholas Kane says, at Symantec, I know they will never be, but it would be nice if the ETHW testnet coins ever had any value. I have 878 ETHW in the testnet wallet. You won't get the testnet wallet. Heartflush says, at Symantec, thinking about 80% Ergo on 2 miners to Bitcoin to pay power, 20% to the personal wallet to store. I mean, yeah, it's up to you. I don't know how you do that. Like, do you just change it? Or can you do percentages of each? I mean, that's all, like, however you guys want to convert or liquidate, like, that's all on you. I mean, I don't really have any opinions on it. I'm just holding my ERG. Raymond says, at Symantec, any news on your power rate at the farm? No, I'm just effed. FC says, ask Symantec, which miner will work with ETHW? Any pools up yet? I mean, any of the ET hash miners are going to work. It's the same shit. There's no difference. There are no pool. There's just testnet pools up because it hasn't launched. They're going to try to have it launch within an hour of the actual deal being stood up, but I don't know how many nodes are prepared, right? Cedar Cask says, at Summit Tech, hey bro, thanks for all the videos and information over the years. Built my first rig with the help of your guide in 2017. Been a hell of a ride ever since. Yes, sir. The longer you're in it, the better it is, right? David says, at Summit Tech, if ETH pre-OW, it's ETHW now officially, by the way. At least we can kind of get that done and confirmed. So if ETHW is a duplicate, why does it have to be in MetaMask and not any wallet hardware, for example? Well, you can have it in any hardware wallet, for example. Sure. But it has to be able to connect to the new, like the wallet has to support multiple networks. Like you open MetaMask and you click the main net, right? And then you add network. That's how it's going to be easy for you to use MetaMask to access the ETHW airdrop. Other like Trust Wallet does it. You know, other wallets do it. It's up to you if you have familiarity with switching networks. I will probably show you guys how to do it on MetaMask. So if you want to be able to do it on MetaMask, you know, get MetaMask ready. I'm not really going to show it on anything else, right? In fact, though, I am going to go ahead and send some ETH over here real quick. No, I'll have to do it later with the withdrawal. I think I have like 70 bucks in ETH right now. So I'll send a little more over to my MetaMask. I'll show you guys how to do it on that. I'm not going to show you on every single wallet, but if you have a basic concept of like how to connect to different networks, then you can do it, right? If it's an ETH wallet that's like a hardware wallet that doesn't allow connecting to other networks, it's not going to work. Like, so it like Trust Wallet, I think has that support. I think like some ledgers do. Basically, if you're able to add like Polygon Matic to the wallet, then you're able to do it from there, right? It's the same thing. Or yeah, if you're able to add Polygon to that wallet, then you'll be able to add ETHW to that wallet. I think that's the best way to put it. Andrew Jones says, ask Tech, how many terahash are on ASICs and how much on GPUs? Nobody knows. You're guessing 80%. So no more GPU mining ETH Classic. Yeah, well, it's already clear that there's no more GPU mining ETH Classic, right? Like, here, boom. This is easy to demonstrate right here, right? Ethereum Classic, negative 10 cents on a 3090. But if you go to ASIC miners, right? We just looked at this. If you look at the V1 Classic, 1351 a day on Ethereum Classic. Like it's already clear that you are priced out on GPUs on Ethereum Classic, and the only thing you can mine Ethereum Classic with is ASICs. Right now, that's it. Right? Dunskies. Trinity Black, one of the first videos I watched over and over again from you was the Octominer board video. It's been an awesome ride since. Yes, sir. Detroit Iris says, at Summit Tech, has ETHW announced block rewards or the same as ETH? Yeah, so block rewards and everything, like the same schedule continues on for ETH now, right? So it's going to be the 2 block reward. EIP 1559 is being left in. The first 2,000 blocks are actually going to be sent to the burned EIP 1559 wallet. So EIP 1559 stays in place. Everything stays in place, right? Nothing changes. Anime GTX says, ask Tech, why do you think the proof of work coins may go up in price? Because the hash rate's going up. It's inevitable that one of the GPU mineable proof of work coins will go up in price. Which one? I don't know. How much? I don't know. Chadwick's Racing says, that's on Vitek, keep calm, mine on, and boom. So excited for ETH to go away. I'm excited for this to be over with too. Kids for Drugs says, that Tech might be a good video for you to showing how to access ETH on different wallets. I didn't even think I would have access with my Ledger, but I guess it sounds like I should. You should have access on Ledger because you can connect to, I think, Polygon-Matic on Ledger. So I think it shouldn't be a problem. The question is what they're going to do with the chain ID, because the chain ID is on chain ID 1 still. Daniel Ring says, that Tech, is the bomb still going to affect ETHW? Yes. And that is... The thing is, I don't know that anybody's smart enough to defuse the bomb, right? I assume what has to happen, right, is first everything has to get moved over, right? Then, after that, somebody has to go in and permanently defuse the bomb. It's going to be an absolute nightmare. The likelihood of being successful is near zero. Jay Lazar says, Ask Tech, what percentage of miners do you think will have to shut off? Some people say about 90%. Well, we can already kind of tell that everything's gone negative, right? So, right. I mean, and then if we look at the amount of hash rate still on Ethereum, it's at 866 terahash. So really only about 10% came off, 15%. I'd be a little more conservative and say that 85% of the miners have to turn off. I'd say everything remaining here has to get shut off. Temporarily, right? Price discovery has to happen. Price discovery will happen. It'll probably take 6 months. But yeah, I think that's where we're at. I'd say about 85%. I'd say about 850 terahash has to turn off. Yeah, something like that. All right, boys, it looks like the questions have calmed down. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this stream because I do have to do some work on my farm and get some things converted over. So that's going to all be done on https://twitch.tv/blindrun. We will be answering more questions over there. I will be headed to the store and taking some more medication and kind of doing all that stuff, getting myself about a 15-minute break, and then we'll be live over there. And then from there, we will be live tonight. I will also be getting prepared for the Ethereum merge watch party tonight, which will be done on this channel on YouTube. So definitely check that out. So we'll pretty much be live all day. I do have to my son will be here hanging out with me here shortly, probably around, I don't know, between, I think 4 and 9, 5 and 9, something like that. Go over to Twitch right now, though. I'll see you guys over there. Then we're going to be live back over here, like I said. So we're going to be live over there in about 30 minutes max, right? And then I'll be live over on YouTube. I'll get that set up here, and we'll be live on YouTube at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. Okay? Thanks, everybody. I will see you next Tuesday. Hell yeah on breaking 700 concurrent viewers today. Y'all fucking rock. Peace.